Okay, fifth grade. Today we are starting a new book called The Phantom Tollbooth. You have your packet. Please put your name on the top of your packet. And your book is brand spanking new. No one has opened it or read it before. All right, let's look at your book. Let's look at the back, okay? It says, who could possibly have left such an enormous package and such a strange one? Attached to one side was a bright blue envelope which simply said, for Milo, who has plenty of time. A journey to the land beyond. For Milo, everything's a bore. When a toll booth mysteriously appears in his room, he drives through only because he's got nothing better to do. But on the other side, things seem different. Milo visits the island of conclusions. You get there by jumping. Learns about time from a ticking watchdog named Talk, and even embarks on a quest to rescue rhyme and reason. Somewhere along the way, Milo realizes something astonishing. Life is far from dull. In fact, it's exciting beyond his wildest dreams. Okay, so this week you are responsible for reading chapters 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so you will read those chapters and then you will do the pages in your packet as normal. Okay, you can choose to read them all in one day or you can split them up however you'd like. Now let's look at your packet. Let's look at your packet. Okay, you will notice that there are simply chapter numbers at the top instead of chapter names. So if you have read chapter 1, you just need to make sure you do a page 1 or 2, 1 through 2, okay? So you pick which one you want as long as there's a chapter 1 somewhere at the top. If you read chapter 2, you may choose which one you do as long as it has chapter 2 at the top. Does that make sense? It's 3 through 4. So just pick which one. You still get to pick.
If we do one that's 3 through 4, do we have to read 4?
No. Okay, good question. Good question. Here's the deal. Because it says 3 through 4, you do not need to read chapter 4, okay? You know, and I know, that you typically don't have to read the book to answer these questions, okay? I know. I'd like for you to, but I know some of you do not, okay? So, here's the deal. Just do the chapter whenever you can. So if you read chapter 3 and the paper says 3 through 4, don't read 4, just do 3. There may be some vocabulary words from chapter 4, but you should be able to still answer them, okay? Let's look at a remembering details page. Bella found one on page, there's 2. Okay, page 25. Okay, all right, thanks. 25 and 20. 35. Okay, 32. All right, so on the remembering details page, write chapter 10 at the top, okay? Write chapter 10, because this one, it does matter. You might not have all of these answers in chapter 9, okay? So this one is going to be chapter 10 at the top, okay? Chapter 10, and you must do this page for chapter 10. All right, so let's look at number 2. We're going to do that one in a complete sentence. Circle number 2. Circle number 5, 6, and 7. 2, 5, 6, 7. Those are complete sentences after you have read chapter 10. Okay? Yes, 33. Okay, so again, this is going to be chapter 14. Okay, you will do this after you have read chapter 14. All right, we're going to do number 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 as complete sentences. Say it again.
Have you ever read this book?
I've started it. I did. I started it. I bought it from Half Price Books and started reading it.
Do you like it?
Yeah, yeah. It isn't like a super duper exciting book, but it's a good book. Okay. Any questions about this? Okay, put this to the side. Next presentation is paragraph sequencing. Paragraph sequencing. Okay? So, you are basically doing exactly what the packet is called. You are sequencing these paragraphs. So, to sequence means to put things in order. Okay? So, there are 4 different paragraphs. Okay? Not only do you have to put them in order, you also have to match them up with their topic, okay? So one paragraph is about an attempt to cure David. One paragraph is about how David spends his time. Another paragraph is about bubbles for protection. And another paragraph is about David's disease, okay? Walk around please. The entire packet is called The Boys Who Live in a Bubble. Okay? All right, so I'm going to read the paragraphs to you, and I want you to match up the correct topic. Okay? It says, after living in the bubble for 12 years, David received a bone marrow transplant from his sister. Everyone hoped it would fix his immune system. Sadly, it did not work, and David died. However, doctors learned much from David and have been able to help other children who have this disease. Which topic do you think it might be about? Is it an attempt to cure David? How he spent his time? Bubbles for protection? Or about his disease? Rick? Do you know anything about his disease? What disease does he have? Charlotte, what do you think?
Attempt to cure
It's an attempt to cure David. Okay, his sister gave him the transplant, but it did not work. Okay? Now it says, as he grew, family and friends tried to allow David to be like other children. He played with toys and watched television. When he was 6, NASA made him a special space bubble suit like astronauts wear. For the first time, he really saw the outdoors. It made it easier for him to play with friends. Is it how he spent his time, bubbles for protection, or about David's disease? Bella? Okay. All right, here we go. David Vetter was born in 1971 with an immune system disease. Even in the mildest germs could be deadly, since David's body could not protect him. Doctors knew he must stay in a sterile environment until a cure was found. Is that how he spent his time or about David's disease? Maggie?
About his disease.
All right. Next one. It says sterile plastic bubbles were created for David to live in. He had a crib bubble and a playroom bubble. He had to spend half of his time at the hospital. A transport bubble took him there. Only people wearing sterile protection were allowed to touch him. What do you think? Okay, so this one is bubbles for protection, and this one is how he spent his time. Okay, so now that we've matched these up, now we have to put them in the proper sequence. So, which one do you think comes first, Maggie? About his disease. He's born first, right? What do you think comes next? Not yet. Not yet, Shark.
Bubbles for protection.
Not yet. Okay, how he spent his time, because it's talking about how he's growing. Okay? Then what would it be, Maggie?
Bubbles for protection.
Yep. And then the last one would be the attempt to cure. It's talking about him passing away. Actually, I have this backwards. You're right. Okay. All right. So, no, you do not have to write the entire thing. Okay? Phew. Phew. Okay? All right. So what you have to do, this is a good one to type. Okay? You put the title, and then you're going to put the paragraph about David's disease, underline it, and then you are writing the first sentence of this blue card, and after you get to the first period, you just put ... That means that the card continues, but you are not writing. Okay? Then you would put paragraph 2, bubbles for protection. You would write to the first period, ... Then you would do this one, write to the first period, ... and so on. Okay? So you're essentially only writing 4 full sentences. Okay? All right. All right. Okay. Next presentation is going to be our verb chart. Okay? We did first person singular last week. So this time we're doing second person singular. Okay? Second person singular. We have I and you. It says this chart has a golden circle to represent the one who speaks I. The smaller red circle represents you, the person who is spoken to. Okay? Then it has third person singular, which is he, she, or it. It says this chart has the golden circle to represent I, the red circle to symbolize you, and the smaller silver circle to represent the person who is spoken about, he, she, or it. Okay? So we are just putting our pronoun information into a different visual. All you have to do again is recreate these 2 cards. You can type it, or you can do it on a piece of paper. The choice is up to you. Okay? Easy enough? Okay. All right. It's gold. It's supposed to be gold. All right. So last week we started talking about triangles and finding the area of triangles. What was our formula for the area of triangles, Mir? Okay. Base times height divided by 2. And why did we divide it by 2? We always divided it by 2. Good, because a triangle is half of a square or a rectangle, right? And our formula for squares or rectangle is base times height. Okay, so this is very easy. There are only 4 questions. Okay? It says to find the area of these triangles in square centimeters. So you need to get out your ruler. Okay? You will trace all 4. There's only 4. Okay? Use a ruler to trace them. Do not try to trace them without a ruler. Okay? After you trace them, you need to measure the base to the nearest centimeter. Okay? And label it on your triangle that you traced. It's 4 centimeters. Then, from the highest point, you will measure, okay? I do not want you to mess with halves, okay? So go to the closest centimeter, okay? This is about 4, it's a little over 5.5. So I'm going to round to 6. Okay, so again, I drew the height and I labeled it 6. Okay, then here, I went through my whole process of my formula. Area equals base times height divided by 2. Area equals 4 times 6 divided by 2. Area equals 24 divided by 2. Area equals 12 centimeters squared. Remember, we are measuring in squared units because it is area, and area is a flat shape. We only have 2 dimensions, base and height. Any questions about that? No? Okay. Decimal card 23. Decimal card 23 is your paper. Okay, decimal card 23. Okay, so this is very similar to last week. Okay, you are dividing whole numbers, adding a decimal, and going until you have a remainder of 0. Okay, so number 1 is 1 divided by 2. Now, remember, it all matters if you put it in the right order. So I draw the diagonal line. That's just my little trick because I could not remember what to do. I couldn't remember which number went where. Okay. So now, can this work? Does this work?
No.
No, because I can't go into 1. If I'm a 2, I can't go into 1. Okay? So what am I automatically going to do, Griffith? Put a decimal. And remember, just like last time, it goes straight up and a 0. Now, I treat it as a 10. Okay, treat it as a 10. So 2 can go into 10. How many times, Bella? 5 times. And I have a remainder of 0 already. Now, you can put a 0 here. The only thing that I ask is do not put an X. Okay? We're past the X stage now. The X is nothing more than a 0. Okay? So 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. Number 2 is 5 divided by 3. Okay? Now we're just going to divide as normal. 1. I have a remainder of 2 here, and I don't want the remainder of 2. So I'm going to put a decimal here. It's going to go straight up into my answer. And a 0. Bring it down. How many times can 3 go into 20? 6 times, which is 18. Oh, I think I'm noticing something, are you?
It goes on for
I got a 20 again. 6, 18, 20. I can keep going, but what is going to happen? It's going to go on and on and on forever. So what do I do to represent? Okay, I'm going to put that bar on top. It's 1.6 repeating. It doesn't matter. You could put 1.66 repeating over the 6. Because it's the same number, it doesn't matter. Now, if my answer was 1.3222 and the 2 was repeating, I would not put the bar over the 3, okay, only over the 2. Does that make sense? Sometimes you might have a decimal like this. And you've got 2 numbers repeating in a pattern.
Do you put it over 3?
Then you put it over both of them, 3 and 2. Okay, does that make sense? And once you put the bar, you do not have to put the other numbers. So you can, it's understood that the number repeats forever. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. The only thing I do want to ask is when you put the bar, make sure you put the bar over the correct number. so that this one, don't have it hang over the 3 halfway if it didn't repeat, okay? Make sure I know which number your bar is over, okay?
Can we do all of them?
Any questions? Yes, you do all of them. Yep, they're all fairly easy. Okay? All right, 5th grade, that's it. Goodbye.